double thumbs up from me. I really like it. So, Mark, I think you had some questions.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, there's definitely a big market to go from CAD and Revit and SketchUp and all those programs into proper 3D, right? So do you do any exporting? Like, could you export from SketchUp into, for example, Unreal Engine or Unity?
Mm-hmm. So it's a fairly common request we get from sort of the heavy sort of game engine users. Like when we go to advertising agencies and stuff, and people that have already adopted like Unreal, they're asking how our pipeline could push into Unreal. However, most of our enterprise users, like construction and architecture people,
they just want to view.
So they sort of actively say that they don't want to do the training involved in engines. We are using Unity on the back end. It's sort of we're using a lot of our own modules as well, but we sort of see ourselves as handing to any game engine. We've chosen Unity right now, but mainly it's because that sort of end-to-end solution is what our customers have been really saying they need.
Very cool.
Yeah, I love it. So
Yeah.
you said this is like 10 years worth of work. I think that's actually a good thing, which means what I love about what you're doing is you're creating kind of an ecosystem around your product where you're pulling in all these other third-party products, and I think that's going to be a really protectable way for you to run your business. So that being said, tell me about your business.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it looks like you've got a pretty substantial company. I think you said 14 people.
Yeah.
Where are you in the cycle? Are you deploying? Do you have customers? Do you have revenue?
Yep. So we're pre-revenue because we were in sort of a closed beta that we let our customers into. We're working with about 90 of the top 100, let's say, construction and design firms in the U.S. We have about, let's say, 4,000 professionals in construction and architecture that are using our software. And we went through, we moved down to New York City. We started the company actually up in Vermont, but we made it into Techstars in New York. So that was about a year ago, and that really was the big accelerator for the company. So we moved down to New York, and we've been scaling the company there with customers primarily in New York, but obviously everyone's got CAD files, so we're working also with some international firms.
And are you guys funded at this point?
Yeah, we did a seed round last spring.
Yeah. And what about competition? Do you see anybody else trying to do the same thing? What are you worried about? I mean, is there anything?
I think, if I'm being cocky, I think that we are still the only ones that have built this mesh pipeline in this data format. I am worried about the marketing around Autodesk and around Trimble and a lot of these big heavy hitters in the industry that sort of have a monopoly in this. I think that they're going to really push VR early on. We're pretty proud to be hitting like 90 frames a second instantaneously out of these file formats. I think we have the claim to that, but I think marketing is going to be a big challenge for us this summer.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like you might be in a position where one of those companies you mentioned might need your team and your expertise at the beginning, but over the long term you're going to have, because I think this is a big market.
Well,
I mean, how big?
I can tell you
what's the TAM for this? I mean,
well, hang on. There are definitely companies,
billions,
other companies doing
right?
this.
Yeah, let's say 14 to 25 billion.
Yeah, it's a huge TAM. So these companies are going to just let it go.
We've seen other companies doing this.
Yeah.
Right? But I mean, what you're doing is very cool. And
And this is a VR showcase. So
Yeah.
we selected you because we think what you're doing is really amazing for the industry. It's really cool. And we weren't trying to scrutinize your business model. I'm just curious because I think what you're doing is great.
I think it's the big question is will other big industries come in? For us, it's going to be that end-to-end solution. Making it one click is, for our customers at least, saying like easy to use and fast.
But hang on,
is where we start.
You say it's one click, but performance is in VR is based on complexity of the model, right? So a simple little model like that is no problem. But what happens when it's an entire university campus? How do you bring that in and say you're still going to run at 90 frames per second?
So that's our whole company. I mean, that has been the huge challenge. We aren't there yet. We're at about like 10 million polys on, let's say, a 980 Ti. But the end goal is any file size. And I would love to tell you privately afterwards. You
and I should definitely talk.
And I can tell you some of our strategies around that. We have a plan.
Well, this was awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much.